Oh, dear listeners, thank you so much for being with us throughout the sessions and just being, you know, being a subscriber on YouTube, being a follower on Instagram, or whichever platform you're using on the podcast and all that. We just want to appreciate you. And today we've been given a privilege by God to have another guest. And she's all the way from Chicago, and she will be here with us throughout this session. And we are here to receive what the Word of God or what God has in store for us through her. Right. So, Miss Nicole, thank you so much for creating some time even to be here today, and welcome to the show. Right.
Yes. Thank you for having
All
me,
right.
Samuel. I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Okay. So, please do tell us something about yourself, and then we can delve into your story, and then we can see how we can learn from it. So, the flow and
Awesome.
the platform, the system, everything is yours.
Cool. So, my name is Nicole. I am the author of Shattered into Grace, also the creator of Dynamically Crafted. I'm also an engineer. That's my full time job, a mother, and a yogi. So, I really created Shattered into Grace, or wrote Shattered into Grace, to help other women who have gone through a trauma or a life challenging circumstance and really looking for a way to heal. And my way to heal was building my relationship with God.
All right.
And
That was very brief.
did you want me
So,
to go into my story? I wasn't sure if you wanted me to go into my
yeah,
story now. You ready?
that's fine. I think please do tell us now a bit of your story. You know where it all started, how you ended up with the book, and how you ended up with the crafted as well. That kind of story.
Cool.
Yes, yes.
Awesome, awesome. So, when I literally a month after I turned 20, I was going to school to be an engineer, and I was walking on campus and with my friend, and we were standing on the corner waiting for the light to change, and we were hit from behind by a car going 30 miles an hour. It resulted in me having a shattered skull in 7 different places, a shattered tibia, and also a severe traumatic brain injury. When I first after the accident, I ended up in a coma in the hospital for about 5 6 days, and when I woke up, I really did not remember anything. I didn't even recognize my mom. So, but by God's grace, which I didn't acknowledge at the time, I was able to return to classes that following semester. And it definitely wasn't easy. It was definitely difficult, but I went through all of the recovery while I was still getting my degree and while finding myself. And then once I graduated, I was still going through that recovery, but jumping into adulthood. So really, my book goes into detail of all the trials and tribulations many young adults go through, but also while recovering from a severe traumatic brain injury. And I finally got to the point through all of the trials that I realized I couldn't do it on my own. And that's when I really started seeking God. And I, I'm now past my 20s, but after reflecting on my 20s and really praying about it, I realized I could definitely help others that are struggling with either a trauma or a really just a challenging circumstance in life, because we all have them. So I decided to write my book and really just share my story in hopes to give others maybe a little guidance, but also a little bit of encouragement. And from my book, actually, I've developed Dynamically Crafted, which is really a platform to where I have my blog, where I share how I'm continuing to build in my relationship with God every day, hopefully to help other women, but also a way to help women personally just build their relationship with God and also recover from their trauma.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really. I'm really sorry to hear about this whole story like that, and I know the main also reason why you're here is because of the book Shattered into Grace, and I
Yes,
will ask
yes.
you. I'll ask you a couple of questions regarding the book, but I will not also ask you what is in the book, so people can actually buy it and read it. So
Yeah.
it won't be like spoilers, if I may. But I just wanted to ask some few questions around the whole events. You said you are standing back in the day you are crossing the road. and you were
Yes.
hit by a car from behind, right? And you are
Yes.
about 20 years of age, something of the sort. How many were
Correct.
you
Yeah.
there in that area at that
It
point?
was It was just me and my friend, my really close friend. So we were standing at the corner of an intersection, waiting for a light to change.
Mhm.
So really, where the car was coming from, it was red. They really shouldn't have been moving, but he drove up on the sidewalk and crashed into us from behind
I'm
and
really
kept going
sorry.
down the street.
And what happened to your friend? Are they still alive?
Yes, she's still alive. It's interesting, and I probably just find this interesting being an engineering student, just the dynamics of it because she's almost a foot shorter than me, so her
Mhm.
injuries were just completely different. Her head didn't hit the windshield like mine did, so she ended up with a couple MCL tears, ACL tears. Her knees really needed to be reconstructed, but that's where primarily her injuries were.
And you're still friends to date?
Yes, we are.
All right, all right.
Yeah,
Good.
we
Is
we
she?
actually just went for a walk with our newborn babies the other day. So yeah, we're
Oh,
still
that's
very close. Yeah.
amazing. Thank God for that. That's a happy ending to it. And do
Yes.
you mention her in your book as well?
Oh, I just share that we were together
Okay.
in the accident, but I don't go into detail about our
All right.
relationship, our friendship.
Okay. And did they finally get what happened to the driver? Is there a story to
So
it? And did they catch the driver? Was he drunk? What happened to the driver?
yeah,
Where
so
was
when
he
they went
from?
to so after they did all the tests, they found that they were going to go and charge him with an OUI.
Mhm.
So he was not drunk, but he was under the influence of something else. And but then when they went to go arrest him, they found that he had dementia, so he wasn't able to. They determined he wasn't able to stand trial, so he kind of I wouldn't say he got off because I'm sure like God has a way of having people learn their lessons in their own ways, and he with dementia I know is a really difficult thing to deal with, so he probably was dealing with a lot of things mentally on his own, but he didn't stand trial or serve any time, but they
All
did
right.
find
And
him.
for the people in Kenya and in Africa, uh, sorry, I'm not only emotional about this, but because a lot of time has passed, and but it is a sad event if you look at it. But for the people in Kenya, what is the meaning of OUI?
It oh I can't remember so it's really like under the influence. I can't
Oh,
remember what
okay,
the O stands for,
it's
but
like DUI. It's like DUI
like a
in.
DUI. Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
all right,
exactly.
all right.
It's another form of a DUI. Yes.
All right, because I'm a parent, and you are coming from school. Though you are a bit, 20 years is a bit older in terms of you're in college in that sense. How did your parents react to all this news? And are they both still alive? And how did they react to this? Having their little girl in such a scenario, you know, and how did they cope with it all these years?
Yeah, it was hard. But luckily, I went to school about 45 minutes from where they live. So
Oh,
my mom actually, which I go into detail in my book, my mom got the call because she's my like on all of my records as my first
yeah.
person to call. So
Mhm.
when we were right after the accident, the school called her and let her know that I had been in an accident, and so she left work, got in the car right away, and headed towards the hospital, and called my dad on the way. And so both my parents were there within the hour that I arrived at the
Okay.
hospital. And my mom didn't leave. My mom stayed by my side the whole time, and I think that
Mhm.
was honestly what helped me recover was because she was right by my side, reminding me of that she was there and who I was, and also praying over me and asking others to pray over me, which is huge. And my dad, it was really difficult because, like you said, I'm his little girl, so to see
I
me
know.
in that circumstance and not be able to do anything about it, he really struggled. Even if I try to talk to him about it today, like when I wrote my book, I got a lot of feedback from my parents because there was a certain time period after the accident that I still don't remember.
Yeah.
So I really got a lot of their story and really helped to build the book. And my dad, it's really hard for him to even reflect or talk about it even today.
It's traumatizing as well. And
Yeah.
so have you learned to let go of the day and let and forgive this person who was driving the car? Have you learned to let go and forgive the man, or rather forget about that day?
Yeah, I wouldn't say maybe forget about it, but I definitely have recovered and I have forgiven him because I
Yeah.
know he's dealing with his own situation and circumstances, and I've grown so much from that day. Like I would say I've definitely healed from the accident. I still obviously have little pains, little like headaches every once in a while that are just part of the circumstances of a severe traumatic brain injury, but I've really mentally healed from the accident, yes.
It's an absolute miracle because you being here and having a conversation about such a terrible event, and being able to recall and having the courage to even, you know, gather bits of that day and not even get, are they calling it PTSD or trauma from that
Yeah.
day? It's a miracle, and we want to thank Jesus Christ for that. And I pray for you so that all the pain will disappear, because you look as if you never even had such an event in your, in your life. You look very vibrant and whole in that manner. And I just wanted to get, I just wanted to also ask, uh, how when you fully recovered, and because there's a point where you knew now you can walk, you can eat, you can talk, there's some memory coming, and are you able to tell us what was the reaction of your parents on that day? How, did they celebrate? How did you even react? How did people around you, receive this good news? Because it's like it's a miracle. It's one day you're not able to forget. So how did they react to this day, and where were you, if you may?
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say they were still just very nervous because it wasn't like
Yes.
one day I woke up and I was back 100% back to normal. After when I was in the hospital, when I did come, I would say wake up, but I still didn't recognize my mom. I still didn't, but I was able to have all the basic living functions, right? I was able to breathe, eat on my own, kind of hobble with my broken fibula, and I was able to at least survive on the terms where the hospital can say, okay, there's nothing that we can really do for you now, and they literally told my mom that you can like take her home and take care of her, and hopefully everything will come back. And I had a lot of therapy. I was in physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Really, after I was released from the hospital over a week after the accident, I went back in my parents' couch and just like slept on the couch all day. And then when I woke up, my mom would help me just like take care of basic things and talk with me. And like one memory that I have is just like laying on the couch and my dad sitting in his armchair next to me, like just like little bits and pieces. But I just remember being tired, exhausted. But I was able to find, when I finally did, and I get my memory back and get things together. My mom really was pushing for me to go back to school, get those classes done, so that I didn't throw away that semester, because there was only about a month left of the semester. So she
Mhm.
pushed really hard for me to be able to just take the tests and the final little things that I needed to get done, so that I didn't throw away that semester. So as soon as I was really able to talk and have some sort of memory back, they were like, okay. My mom was like, okay, let's get to work. You have things to do, but like obviously in a caring way, but like knowing that there were things to do. So I wouldn't say that there was like a celebration of some sorts. It was just like, okay, this is our new reality. Let's learn how to work with it.
And I do love your parents because the event didn't shatter them. They stuck together and they were there for you, and that counts a lot, especially praying, which will bring now me to the other question. How was the news received by your church? And what did you used to go to church? And did you have the church around you, or how are you connecting with God at that period of time? In that session. So, did
Yeah.
you have a relationship, yeah, with the
So
church or something?
at this that time we weren't going to church, and I go into details in my book about
Okay.
what kind of happened with that and what resulted in my family not attending church at that time. But I did attend Marquette University, which is a Jesuit college. So
Mhm.
that was a really interesting time period of my life because going to a Jesuit college, I was really excited because I knew I had to take two different theology classes. So I thought, oh, now I'm actually going to be able to dive into the Christian that I've always said I am. Because going to church, we or growing up, we did go to church every Sunday, but it was just such a casual relationship where we went to church every Sunday and that was about it. So I never really dove into the Bible on my own growing up. I didn't really, it's not that I didn't have an interest, but I didn't know, it wasn't like a forefront thing for me to do, right? So going to Marquette, I actually had taken my first theology course that my freshman year, and it was in my sophomore year during when the accident happened. But my first theology course really kind of shook me because it introduced me really heavily into the Old Testament, which can be kind of a very I wouldn't say a cruel God, but like a God that like is very like he teaches your lessons. And so I was like, oh no, this isn't the God that I thought I believed in. Like I've always been taught that like good, forgiving, loving God, and I was like, oh, what like and so I was really struggling, if I would say, with not with my belief in God, but like is this the God I believe in? Like I know that he exists, but is this really it?
What?
So then when my accident happened, I was like, what have I done to deserve this? Like and so I was honestly really struggling. So you'll see even in my book I go into I felt, oh, God forgot about me. I did something to make him mad, so I have to recover on my own. But it's funny because now looking back at this, I'm like, he literally had his hand in my story the whole way. And if I would have just acknowledged that, I probably would have recovered, or things would have been a lot easier than what they were. So
And
yeah, at the time it was a struggle, but
and right now, do your parents, they go to church and that kind of thing? Are they having a relationship with God in that sense?
so they definitely they believe in God. They do my mom grew up Catholic, so they do a rosary every day. But they don't physically go to a church. They virtually watch church. But I will say we had my daughter's dedication 2 weeks ago, and they did come to my church service for that. So that was nice to have them there
All right.
with us.
Okay, and then I know you also mentioned something about them in the book as well, which we don't want to do spoilers. The idea here is to get people to have a curiosity and want to go and buy the book and read the story and see through the testimony of it all. And now about you yourself, before we go to the book, how is your relationship with God right now? And so I know the thing shakes you and then it makes you get somehow close to God. So how is the relationship with God right now?
I would say we are continuing to grow in our relationship. I like obviously it's I whenever I talk to people about how do I talk to God or what like how do you even start that conversation, like it's I kind of compare it to even a relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Like it's like a continually growing relationship. He's learning a little bit about, well, he knows all about me. I'm learning a little bit about him, and we're still learning on how to communicate. What's the best way to talk to each other? What's the best way for me to listen to what he's trying to get me to go through? So we're continuing to grow in our relationship, and I do that by going to church every Sunday, reading the Bible, getting involved in his community, and yeah,
And what's the name of your church where you go to?
it is called Good News in the Neighborhood in
All right.
Palatine.
It's still Catholic, all right?
No, it's non-denominational.
Non-denominational. All right, all right. Now, tell us now about you yourself before we go to the book. How I know you mentioned some of these bits in the book, but if you will know how you can tell us this about yourself, how the event affected you personally and your personal life, because it happened to you, and we've just covered about how it affected people around you. So how did it affect you, and how did you now get back to your feet and start living, as a normal human being, with relationships, with neighbors, and with your best friends? So I know you can now tell us something of the sort, and then not give spoilers to the book. You will know how to do it. So
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
that's fair. So it was tough. Like I said, it really
Mhm.
made me feel like, oh, I must have done something wrong. Oh, God
Mhm.
forgot about me. And then it just pushed me to, oh, I guess I have to figure this out on my own. Like I
Mhm.
don't, I didn't want to, I didn't want to be miserable. I just wanted to heal and go on with my life. So I really just tried to strive and do things on my own, and but also seek approval and acceptance in people that I shouldn't have, because I was seeking obviously acceptance in the wrong to the wrong thing. Like I should have been seeking acceptance with God instead of
Yeah.
people. But seeking acceptance with people and trying to heal and trying to see the good in myself, I resulted in a lot of just negative relationships that just could continue to
Mhm.
take me down, while I was also trying to just kill it in my career and move on and do great things. And I got to a point where I realized I was so down deep that I couldn't do it on my own, and I wasn't meant to do it on my own. And that's when I really started seeking God again, and later in my 20s, which I'll go into more detail in my book. But then really building up that relationship, I found that I will say life doesn't get easier, but it gets a lot lighter. And it's just, I don't want to use the word easy, but it makes navigating things a lot brighter, and just it's smoother. And
Yes.
but because and I go into detail, I give an example of that in my book, because I also go through some grief
Mhm.
after I build my relationship with God. And I share that to say, like, that just because a lot of people think, oh, I'm a Christian, like things are going to be easy, I'm not going to have any more challenges. Like, no, you're still going to have the challenges, but that relationship does make things a lot, like I said, lighter. So as of today, I would say I'm really in the best place I've ever been in my life. I'm in a healthy relationship. I have a beautiful daughter, and I'm
Mhm.
continuing to be a better person myself, and hopefully help others as well. So,
It's amazing the way you've reconciled with God and healed, and even written a book about it, and moved on and accepted it, and you're now walking hand in hand with God. That's really amazing, and it's a lesson for all of us to learn perfectly. Now, do tell us now about your book, and where you can tell us about the book. What's the main title? Tell us the flow of it and where to find it.
awesome. So here I've got a picture. It's
All right,
Shattered into Grace.
shattered into
And real
grace. That
Go
that will
ahead.
be the title of this episode. Yes, please proceed.
Awesome, awesome. Yep. Shattered into Grace. It really starts with where my journey primarily started, with the accident. Then I
Okay.
go into a little detail of my background, who I was even before the accident. I share a little bit about growing up as an interracial child in a predominantly white neighborhood, and because that really shaped a lot of probably really who I was before the accident, and even impacted my recovery from the accident. I also go into my childhood and the relationship with the church that my family had, so that because that adds some color to my story as well. And then from the accident, I go into my recovery, starting from ground zero, how I made, like, going through college, the situations that I had that probably were impacted because of the accident and because of my mental state at that time. I dive into my career, how becoming an engineer while navigating the healing patterns. And then really the biggest thing is, well, I wouldn't say the biggest thing, but a big area is the relationships, because I believe that women, when we go through something so traumatic or life challenging, we often seek acceptance, and unfortunately, that sometimes it results in seeking acceptance from the wrong men. And I've been there. I've been in those toxic, mentally abusive relationships, and
Yeah.
so I really wanted to share that and just be completely blatant so that other women can understand that like they're not alone and others have
Mhm.
been there, and there's better avenues than to put up with things like that. And I also share the great relationships that I have, those that have helped continue to build my relationship with Christ, even when I wasn't ready to accept that relationship with Him. Which I go into big detail about my best friends because they've been God fearing women their whole lives, and I truly believe God put them in my life to really help me get to the relationship that we're in today. But yes, that's Shattered into Grace. You can find all the details on dynamicallycrafted.com. That's my website. So that's where I have all the details about the book. I also have my blog and also ways to contact me.
Well done. Please do tell us because we want to see a picture of your career. Because right now we've seen a picture of what made you up to here. So we want to see a picture of you thriving. Tell us about your career, what you do, after, and how so that people can believe that you're actually doing it and you've already gotten the healing. So tell us about your
Yeah.
career, and then we can go to the question about the Bible.
Awesome. Yep. So I'm an engineering project manager. So I really lead projects or implementation of automation systems in different distribution centers across the United States, soon across the whole world. So we're talking about going more internationally in the next year, which is really exciting on my end. I travel a lot for work, but it's good thing. It's good stuff. I do, yeah, a wide range of things. Really, but the funny thing is nothing of what I thought I was going to do when I got my degree, which is kind of just the way it is. I got my degree in biomechanical engineering, and I'm
Mhm.
now more of like a mechanical I do some coding, some data analysis, like nothing to what, but I'm doing well, so that's most important.
So for the listeners who are wondering how that corporate terms, well, are you able to tell us just a sneak bit of your average day, what you do?
Yeah,
For
so
not for someone who doesn't understand those co- corporate terms. So,
yeah. No problem. So I, so any product that you get has to come from a warehouse, right? And like,
yes.
when as the business grows, you need the most efficient way to get that product out the door, the fastest it can, but the most efficient way, so you don't get the wrong product out the door. So there, basically, I help implement these systems that will pull the product from the shelf, put them into some system, some package to get out the door in the most efficient way possible. But to get there, we have to make sure that we're implementing the correct system, and a system that will be, yeah, most efficient, but for the best cost, because you don't want to just throw any system in there. Like I could throw the biggest, baddest system in every warehouse distribution center, but am I going to get the cost back out of it? So to do that, like some days I'll be just building what I'll call capacity models.
Mhm.
So really look at how many lines go through, what's the volume that goes through that building every day, and then what's the expected growth. So then looking at that, how much storage space do we need? What's the best automation equipment that we need? Building that, and then I'll have to take those numbers, go to the finance person, and ask, okay, can I get this money? Yep. And then implement it. Another cool thing about my career, which I will say, is I'm not sure if I'm really I'm heavily in, like, I'm the main admin person to help our whole team with Smartsheet. So Smartsheet really is, it's kind of like a Microsoft project on steroids. It's really like a good way to keep track of all the finances, the project plan, all the details of your project. And so, but I've gotten the opportunity to really help build that template for all the project managers throughout my team. So I'm also in that a lot all day. So busy stuff, a lot of cool stuff to me.
So when I say Odoo, when I say SAP, when I say Oracle, that is the area.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right, all right. So are you hired or are you working for your company or are you on freelance?
I work for my company. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So now that becomes interesting because I want you to tell the listeners who are looking to hire someone like you. I want them to look for you. Why? Because this is a completeness of a miracle of someone who just had that accident and who is talking like this and who is very sound minded. You understand. So tell
Yeah.
listeners who are looking for solutions which you offer how they can find you and why you. It's sort
So
of like
you
an
can.
interview.
It does kind
So
of sound like an
speech,
interview.
speech, 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 speech.
Love it. But yeah, it's dynamically if you Chewy, dynamicallycrafted.com, and then there's a little contact me, and any you can always drop anything in there. Whether you have an opportunity for me, or if you would like me to come speak, or potential engineering, because that is something that is a big a side note, a big another thing that I really have a passion for is helping other really especially young engineers thrive in their career, because I've been very blessed with the opportunity to obtain opportunities and things to really help me build my skills and get to the point where I'm doing well in my career. And I really want to help other young engineers do that. So if there's an opportunity for that, I would love to be a part of it. But yes, dynamicallycrafted.com, and that's how you can reach me the best.
Which is the best system that you found out there that you've implemented the best?
What do you mean best system? Like best?
Like which one? Like of all the, how do I put this? Of all the systems that you've used in implemented
All
per
the
se, which
solutions.
one, which one blew your mind and you say no, this one is really cool? Are you able to say that?
I don't know that
Or
I
it
can
or it
share
all
exactly the
depends on
system.
the factory or the warehouse per se. You
Yes,
can't really
exactly. Every warehouse, every distribution center is
is
different.
unique.
So it's really
Oh,
like that. I would say every project that I've done, every new system that I've had the opportunity of having my hand in, I'm of course going to say that's the coolest, because it's
yeah.
the bigger, the newer, it
Yes.
just keeps continuing to get cooler and cooler. I will say the one thing that blows my mind every time I get to go is every year they have these like conferences or conventions, and there's one in Atlanta, Georgia. It's called Modex, and they have that every other year. And just walking in, it's just amazing to see how, especially I've been in my career for a little over 10 years now, maybe 12,
Mhm.
and just seeing like how the robots have evolved. Like I remember going to this conference when I first right when I first graduated, and that's when they first had the Fanuc robots, like just grabbing boxes and slowly putting them onto another one. And now they've got things zipping around, pulling products from shelves, moving things, and like it's just the world, automation, robotics. It's a whole nother level now. And just imagining how far it's gotten now, just where it's going to be in another 10 years.
Uh-huh.
It's all exciting.
I know. I saw one logistical port in China where it was just silent, and it's like cars looking like trucks looking like hovercrafts carrying containers, and it's a silent. It's like a ghost logistical center. It's just silent, just robots. So it's amazing.
Yeah,
Anyway, back to Earth.
yeah.
Now your Bible. How do you read your Bible from one Sunday to another?
I will
Do
say at
you
the
even
end of the
have
day,
one?
yes, I do have one.
All
The
right.
one that I have actually right on my desk, if I
Yes.
don't, is the Bobby Evans Study Bible. This is really my big one right now. I only,
Okay.
well, I have more post-its inside. These are the ones you can see. But so I really try to let God guide me on how I'm reading my Bible every day. And so I really try to start my time. I try to set aside at least like 20 minutes a day, and just one, listen to God. Is there a passage you want me to read? And even because I also have the Bible app on my phone, and sometimes I feel, okay, like especially if it's a busy day, maybe I'm just meant to read that verse and then go into my Bible and read that context, read where it's at. Or Some days I'll just feel, okay, let's open up to a page and I'll read that chapter in the Bible. But then there's also some days where I'm still really trying. I will be honest, I've never read the Bible front to cover to cover, which is difficult. I've tried to start many times. And I even have in there, like you'll see, like I have little spots where I've stopped, and there's some days where I just need to go and continue where I left off at this period. So
Mhm.
all that to say, I really let God kind of guide me on where I'm meant to get in my Bible. But yes, I have many. I have this one. I have two other ones in my closet. Yeah, we've got them.
Ah, that's amazing. I think that marks the end of my questions. And the one thing I could just ask is, do you have any other thing you would want to tell all, the listeners out there?
No, I think the big thing is just to remind everyone that you are worthy. I think that was the biggest thing through my whole adventure in finding my relationship with God was I really went through some really low periods where I didn't even think that I was meant to or worthy of having that relationship that I have now. And so it's just to remind you that you are worthy of more than what you give yourself credit for. And God will show you that.
Amen.